My name is Heidi McCallum, and I am representing Grace United Church. Today's reading is from Genesis chapter 17 to 20, and I will be reading from the Living Bible version. Chapter 17. When Abram was 99 years old, God appeared to him and told him, "I am the Almighty. Obey me and live as you should. I will prepare a contract between us, guaranteeing to make you into a mighty nation. In fact, you will be the father of not only one nation, but a multitude of nations." Abram fell face downward in the dust as God talked with him. "What's more," God told him, "I am changing your name. It is no longer Abram, but Abraham, for that is what you will be. I have declared it. I will give you millions of descendants who will form many nations. Kings shall be among your descendants, and I will continue this agreement between us, generation after generation, forever. For it shall be between me and your children as well. It is a contract that I shall be your God and the God of your posterity, and I will give you all this land of Canaan to you and them forever, and I will be your God. Your part of the contract," God told him, "is to obey its terms. You personally and all your posterity have this continual responsibility that every male among you shall be circumcised. The foreskin of his penis shall be cut off. This will be proof that you and they accept the covenant. Every male shall be circumcised on the 8th day after birth. This applies to every foreign-born slave as well as to everyone born in your household. This is a permanent part of the contract, and it applies to all your posterity. All must be circumcised. Your bodies will thus be marked as a participant in my everlasting covenant. Anyone who refuses these terms shall be cut off from his people, for he has violated my contract." Then God added regarding Sarai, your wife, "Her name is no longer Sarai, but Sarah, and I will bless her and give you a son from her. Yes, I will bless her richly and make her the mother of my nations. Many kings shall be among your posterity." Then Abraham threw himself down in worship before the Lord, but inside he was laughing in disbelief. "Me be a father," he said in amusement. "Me, 100 years old, and Sarah to have a baby at 90? And Abraham said to God, "Yes, do bless Ishmael." "No," God replied, "that isn't what I said. Sarah shall bear you a son, and you are to name him Isaac, and I will sign my covenant with him forever and his descendants. As for Ishmael, all right, I will bless him also, just as you have asked me to. I will cause him to multiply and become a great nation. 12 princesses shall be among his posterity. But my contract is with Isaac, who will be born to you and Sarah next year at about this time." That ended the conversation, and God left. Then, that very day, Abraham took Ishmael, his son, and every other male born inside his household or bought from outside, and cut their foreskins, just as God had told him to. Abraham was 99 years old at the time, and Ishmael was 13. Both were circumcised the same day, along with all the other men and boys of the household, whether born there or bought as slaves. Chapter 18. The Lord appeared again to Abraham while he was living in the oak at Mamre. This is the way it happened. One hot summer afternoon, as he was sitting in the opening of his tent, he suddenly noticed 3 men coming toward him. He sprang up and ran to meet them and welcome them. "Sirs," he said, "please don't go any further. Stop a while and rest here in the shade of this tree while I get water to refresh your feet and a bite to eat to strengthen you. Do stay a while before continuing your journey." "All right," they said, "do as you have said." Then Abraham ran back to the tent and said to Sarah, "Quick, mix up some pancakes. Use your best flour and make enough for the 3 of them." Then he ran out to the herd and selected a fat calf and told a servant to hurry and butcher it. Soon, Taking them cheese and milk and the roast veal, he set it before the man and stood beneath the trees beside them as they ate. "Where is Sarah, your wife?" they asked him. "In the tent," Abraham replied. Then the Lord said, "Next year I will give you and Sarah a son." Then Abraham and Sarah were both very old, and Sarah was long since past the time when she could have a baby. So Sarah laughed silently. "A woman my age have a baby," she scoffed to herself, "and with a husband as old as mine?" Then God said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh? Why did she say, 'Can an old woman like me have a baby?' Is anything too hard for God? Next year, just as I told you, I will certainly see to it that Sarah has a son." But Sarah denied it. "I didn't laugh," she lied, for she was afraid. Then the men stood up from their meal and started on towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them part of the way. "Should I hide my plan from Abraham?" God asked. "For Abraham shall become a mighty nation, and he will be a source of blessing for all the nations of the earth. And I have picked him out to have godly descendants and a godly household, men who are just and good, so that I can do for him all I have promised." So the Lord told Abraham, "I have heard the people of Sodom and Gomorrah are utterly evil, and that everything they do is wicked. I am going down to see whether these reports are true or not. Then I will know." So the other two went on towards Sodom, and the Lord remained with Abraham a while. Then Abraham approached him and said, "Will you kill the good and bad alike? Suppose you find 50 godly people there within the city. Will you destroy it and not spare it for their sakes? That wouldn't be right. Surely you wouldn't do such a thing, to kill the godly with the wicked. Why, you would be treating the godly and the wicked exactly the same. Surely you wouldn't do that. Should not the judge of all earth be fair?" And God replied, "If I find 50 godly people there, I will spare the entire city for their sake." Then Abraham spoke again. "Since I've begun, let me go on and speak further to the Lord, though I am but dust and ashes. Suppose there are only 45. Will you destroy the city for lack of 5? And God said, "I will not destroy it if I find 45. Then Abraham went further with his request. "Suppose there are only 40. And God replied, "I won't destroy it if there are 40. "Please don't be angry," Abraham pleaded. "Let me speak. Suppose only 30 are found." Then God replied, "I won't do it if there are 30 there." Then Abraham said, "Since I've dared to speak to God, let me continue. Suppose there are only 20. And God said, "Then I won't destroy it for the sake of 20. Finally, Abraham said, "Oh, let not the Lord be angry. I will speak but this once more. Suppose only 10 are found." And God said, "Then for the sake of the 10, I will not destroy it." And the Lord went on his way when he had finished his conversation with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his tent. Chapter 19. That evening the two angels came to the entrance of the city of Sodom, and Lot was sitting there as they arrived. When he saw them, he stood up to meet them and welcomed them. "Sirs," he said, "come to my home as my guests for the night. You can get up as early as you like and be on your way again." "Oh, no thanks," he said. "We're just going to stretch out here along the street." But he was very urgent, until at last they went home with him, and he set a great feast before them, complete with freshly baked unleavened bread. After the meal, as they were preparing to retire for the night, the men of the city, yes, Sodomites, young and old from all over the city, surrounded the house and shouted to Lot, "Bring out those men to us so we can rape them." Lot stepped outside to talk to them, shutting the door behind him. "Please, fellows," he begged, "don't do such a wicked thing. Look, I have 2 virgin daughters, and I'll surrender them to you to do with as you wish. But leave these men alone, for they are under my protection." "Stand back," they yelled. "Who do you think you are? We let this fellow settle among us, and now he tries to tell us what to do. We'll deal with you far worse than any of those other men." And they lunged at Lot and began breaking down the door. But the two men reached out and pulled Lot in and bolted the door, and temporarily blinded the men of Sodom so that they couldn't find the door. "What relatives do you have here in this city?" the men asked. "Get them out of this place, son-in-laws, sons, daughters, or anyone else, for we will destroy the city completely. The stench of this place has reached to heaven, and God has sent us to destroy it." So Lot rushed out to tell his daughter's fiancés, "Quick, get out of the city, for the Lord is going to destroy it." But the young man looked at him as though he had lost his senses. At dawn the next morning, the angels became urgent. "Hurry," they said to Lot. "Take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here and get out while you can, or you will be caught in the destruction of the city." When Lot still hesitated, the angel seized his hands and the hands of his wife and 2 daughters and rushed them to safety outside the city, for the Lord was merciful. "Flee for your lives," the angels told him, "and don't look back. Escape to the mountains. Don't stay down here on the plains, or you will die." "Oh no, sirs, please," Lot begged. "Since you've been so kind to me and saved my life, you've been and granted me mercy. Let me flee to that little village over there instead of into the mountains, for I fear disaster in the mountain. See, the village is close by, and it is just a small one. Please, please, let me go there instead. Don't you see how small it is, and my life will be saved?" "All right," the angel said. "I accept your proposition and won't destroy that little city. But hurry, for I can do nothing until you are there." From that time on, that village was named Zoar, meaning little city. The sun was rising as Lot reached the village. Then the Lord rained down fire and flaming tar from heaven upon Sodom and Gomorrah and utterly destroyed them, along with the other cities and villages of the plain, eliminating all life, people, plants, and animals alike. But Lot's wife looked back as she was following along behind him and became a pillar of salt. That morning, Abraham was up early and hurried out to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked out across the plain to Sodom and Gomorrah and saw columns of smoke and fumes as from a furnace rising from the cities there. So God heeded Abraham's plea and kept Lot safe, removing him from the maelstrom of death that engulfed the cities. Afterwards, Lot left Zoar, fearful of the people there, and went to live in a cave in the mountains with his 2 daughters. One day, the older girl said to her sister, "There isn't a man anywhere in this entire area that our father would let us marry, and our father will soon be too old for having children. Come, let us fill him with wine, and then we will sleep with him, so that our clan will not come to an end." So they got him drunk that night, and the older girl went in and had sexual intercourse with her father, but he was unaware of her lying down or getting up again. The next morning she said to her younger sister, "I slept with my father last night. Let's fill him with wine again tonight, and you will go in and lie with him, so that our family line will continue." So they got him drunk again, and that night, and the younger girl went in and lay with him, and as before, he did not know that anyone was there. And so it was that both girls became pregnant from their father. The older girl's baby was named Moab. He became the ancestor of the nation of Moabites. The name of the younger girl's baby was Ben-Ammi. He became the ancestor of the nation of Ammonites. Now Abraham moved out south to Negeb and settled between Kadesh and Shur. One day, when visiting the city of Gerar, he remarked that Sarah was a sister. Then King Amalek sent for her and had her brought to him at his palace. But that night God came to him in a dream and told him, "You are a dead man, for that woman you took is married." But Amalek hadn't slept with her yet. So he said, "Lord, will you slay an innocent man?" He told me, "She is my sister." And she herself said, "Yes, he is my brother. I hadn't the slightest intention of doing anything wrong. Yes, I know, the Lord replied. That is why I held you back from sinning against me. That is why I didn't let you touch her. Now restore her to her husband, and he will pray for you, for he is a prophet, and you shall live. But if you don't return her to him, you are doomed to death along with your household. The king was up early the next morning and hastily called a meeting of all the palace personnel and told them what had happened, and great fear swept through the crowd. Then the king called for Abraham. What is this you've done to us? He demanded. What have I done that deserves treatment like this, to make me and my kingdom guilty of this great sin? Who would suspect that you would do a thing like this to me? Whatever made you think of this vile deed? Well, Abraham said, I figured this to be a godless place. They will want my wife and will kill me to get her, I thought. And besides, she is my sister, or at least half-sister. We both have the same father, and I married her. And when God sent me traveling far from my childhood home, I told her, have the kindness to mention wherever we come that you are my sister. Then King Abimelech took sheep and oxen and servants, both men and women, and gave them to Abraham and returned Sarah, his wife, to him. Look, my kingdom over, and choose the place where you want to live, the king told him. Then he returned Sarah. Look, he said, I am giving your brother 1,000 silver pieces as damages for what I did, to compensate for any embarrassment and to settle any claim against me regarding this matter. Now justice has been done. Then Abraham prayed, asking God to cure the king and queen and the other women of the household, so that they could have children. For God has stricken all the women with barrenness to punish Abimelech for taking Abraham's wife. The word of the Lord.